Welcome to Raised on Rebellion podcast, where we talk about survival, music, rebellion, and generally all-round really interesting stories to do with pain is your power and music. And today we have Lisa Perry from Adam Parsons Entertainment, and she manages fucking awesome bands. Welcome on board, Lisa.
Thank you for having me. Do we need a disclaimer here? There's going to be swearing. Because we swear a lot. We're really good friends and we like to swear, don't we? It's a slight potty mouth alert.
Yeah, so if you don't like swearing, it's probably don't listen to this podcast either.
Ever.
Yeah.
And we're honest. So,
yeah, we're going to be raw and unfiltered.
So we may piss people off, but that's all good, right?
Yeah. We don't care.
No.
So tell me, who do you manage?
So I work with legacy artists and emerging artists, and so Europe, Stiff Little Fingers, so real kind of legends of the industry. So Stiff Little Fingers are like the godfathers of punk, and we're like the management team for them. So we've got a whole team. I'm based in the UK, and my business partner's based over in the US. So we cover both sides of the pond. And we're a great team. We're a small team of us, but we love and feel so passionate about what we do. We absolutely love working with artists. So we, I think.
So who are they all?
So we've got Lita Ford.
Yeah.
So one of the most amazing kind of rock stars of our generation. I'm not going to say female, she's just an amazing musician, and she is literally one of my favourite people on the planet. She is the real deal. So Lita Ford, we've got Europe, we've got just taken on Accept, based in Germany, so Balls to the Wall. Obviously Europe have been legends since the 80s. Ricky Warwick, who is just tapped in with the almighty Black Star Riders, Ricky Warwick and the Fighting Heart. He did Thin Lizzy. He is one of the best people to work with because he is on it as much as we are. So he's passionate about what he does, but he's just brilliant all-round person. He's a good human being, He's one of the good guys. But they all are. We pride ourselves on only working with artists that we that aren't dicks, basically. And if they're dicks, we tend to, there's plenty of room at the table for everybody, so managers can take them on, and if they can do a better job than us with someone that we don't necessarily blend well with our attitudes or whatever, then that's absolutely fine. And then recently we started working with a band called Jola, and they're a young band from the Midlands, and they are like the dream emerging act for me because I've been hunting for a band like this for over a decade, and it's been my mission to break a band that absolutely deserves all the hard work going into them, pure talent, good all-round people. What do they stand for? They stand for building a community, bringing rock back to the masses, and and they're beautiful young boys, but they've got hearts of gold. They're not knobheads at all. They're just really decent guys, So I love working with them. The industry are losing their shit over them, and the fans are going crazy all over the world. Brazil's gone nuts for them. 25% of all their growth has been Brazil, and America equally. Really just very, very enthusiastic about their music. So that's kind of exciting. It's what at the heart of why I do what I do. So Jada had taken the world by storm. They had a growth over the last 3 weeks of they were on 5,000 on Instagram and Spotify and all those social media platforms. They went from 5,000 to 50,000 in 2-3 weeks. So they are literally kicking off to the moon, and they deserve it. But the industry is swarming. And that's the bit where a good manager comes in and protects them, because this is the bit, you've got to build a career. It's not like a 1 album, 2 album deal. I want them to be like the Rolling Stones in their 80s and they're still playing Hyde Park and, arenas and stadiums and all that jazz.
Okay, so let me ask you a personal question. So demons, would you release them or cage them?
Personal demons?
Or other people's demons, like the demons in your head.
Okay.
The demons in your head.
I think the demons in your head, we have to, it depends on
tame them or release them.
So is it just a one or the other? I don't have a choice. Okay, release them. Fuck yeah. Let them out.
Yeah,
they need to go.
Yeah,
banish them. No time for that shit.
Yeah,
we've got too much good shit to do, right?
That's true.
So we release the demons in work and in play.
Okay, and what's some advice you'd give? Or no, let's talk shop. So tell me what's a really funny story from the road, and you don't have to name names, but if you do, it'd be a bit more juicy. But what's something really, really funny that's happened?
Some darker stories I could share that aren't so fun. Obviously, being a woman in the industry, backstage, it's a completely different experience from a man in my position doing what I do than it is for a woman. And I really don't present myself as a woman in the industry. I present myself as an artist that I just work really hard and just get on and do what I do. But it's a different experience. So there's lots of, not horror stories, because you have to hold your own backstage and on the road. But it's like in rock and in metal and in punk, I would say 95% of on the road crew, people that you're dealing with is all men. So there's that whole, so there's the funny stories, but also there's these crazy stories of, security giving you a hard time thinking you're a groupie. Things like that have happened to me repeatedly. And it's like, and also that women don't want to be in the industry because of the behaviours of how you get treated by men. Yet this is what we do best. So I've kind of gone off on a tangent of your first questions of the funny stories on the road. There's many amazing stories on the road. There's, some really lovely things, like when I was on tour, and I can mention this band, the Gravitones years ago were the first band that I managed. Had the best tour with them. We were on tour in a Winnebago because we thought that would be a great idea to go out on tour as a support with the temperance movement. We had this huge Winnebago that I convinced my friend that it would be a great idea. And bless him, he took the hit financially and took the time off work, and he took us all over the UK in this Winnebago. We're flying along the motorway and the tyre blows out, and he totally saved our lives, and we were oblivious, singing in the back, all the stuff, and it's going like this, but we're having a great time. We're like, it's just a bit of sliding on there. We could have easily gone over, and he completely saved the day. We pulled over, we had to have someone come and get us, take us to the venue, nearly missed a show, but that shit happens all the time on the road. But it was like, you chalk it up to experience, and there's a great photo of us all sitting with the Gravitones hoodies, all sitting in a row waiting to be saved. And the poor dude with the Winnebago, James, he was like, had to wait and, get the tyre sorted out for our next show. And, he wasn't being paid to be there. He was paying because the love of music, the love of the band. There's a lot of good people, people. Yeah. So that's kind of a scary but nice kind of story to it.
Yeah, totally. And how did you get into music?
Social media. Well, social media is how I got into the music industry as setting up a business. Yeah. How did I get into music was when I was 12, I went to a party that I shouldn't have been at, and as you do, and I walked in, and Since I've Been Loving You by Led Zeppelin was just dropping on the vinyl, on the record deck, turntable, God, I'm so old, turntable, and it changed me. And I was like, what the fuck is that? I remember I couldn't move. I was like, what is that? Yeah. What is that? And everyone was like, oh, it's Led Zeppelin. And I was looking at the album, and I was just like, I've got to have this in my life. And I never was the same after that, because I was just obsessed with music. And then I found the Cult, and and fell in love with Ian Asprey, and all of that, all over my wall. It was the Cult, and I was a goth, and it was all about the music. And we've had lots of chats about challenging upbringings and, very personal stuff. And it saved me. All that shit that I went through as a kid, I always had my go-to was music. So how did I get into music? Actually comes from way back, challenges that you have this outlet, and you feel safe, and you feel seen, and you can understand, and you can relate, and you can resonate. And it's truth music. And that's what we search for today. When we go crazy about music and we're sharing it with each other, it's like you feel it. It's not about necessarily the lyrics. Does it resonate? Is there something about it that moves you? And if it does, you can't avoid it. This young band, Jayla, their music is like, it's on point. We just had the Led Zeppelin movie drop, and the younger generation are really interested in rock again. Yeah. And it's never really died. I wouldn't say rock was dead, but it just had a hiatus. Yeah. And then pop and all that other shite that's been in the charts and everything, that came to the forefront, and not meaningful music. Now it's rock to the masses of a community of what do they stand for? You know, what do you like Youngblood? What does he stand for? J-Lo are very much like that. It's about building that loving community where you give a shit and you engage with your fans.
But
Really
they're in it
important.
for the music. They're not in it for the Simon Cowell, let's build a fucking band and make a bit of money. Bullshit, fake crap. They're like in it because they love it and want to be there and it makes them happy.
And it's real.
Yeah.
But as a fan,
but they write their own music, don't they?
Yeah. But you can feel it, you know, they have fun. They are buzzing on stage.
And they're really young.
They're 20. They're 20. And it's like, but the energy around them, and they're surrounded by love. All their parents are all behind them. They're the crew. They're lifting them up. So I have me and my business partner, Adam, we have a huge responsibility to make sure that they get the support and the protection from the vultures, you know, and there's plenty of that, you know, and it's like, don't follow the money, follow the career path of building, you know, a catalogue of music that you're proud of, not churning out, you know, crap that is just
trying to cash out, because that's just selling out. But the thing is, I think anyone that's rising, you do get people coming at you. Yeah. Which is awful.
Well, that's sheep.
But
you know, the industry
parasitic kind of, they're fucking doing really well, and all the fake people and all that bullshit.
Well, they come in with like managers and labels and major labels that, you know, you've got to be so...
The corporate.
Like, we want to make the money out of it. You know, it's like to move out. So I moved out of corporate into the music industry because I thought there was no money in the music industry, and I was fucking right.
You know that.
But you know, there's money in the music industry if you have plenty of acts to spread the kind of the roller coaster of the feast and famine. You have to have that spread. It's like a spread bet. You know, that's what that's why we have such a vast roster. It's because you have to have that. You know, you have to really, really spread it about. So, you know, it's like at the end of the day, I forgot what we're talking about. So you've gone J-Lo are...
They're cute. I've met them.
They're just adorable. You know, they're adorable, but they're just pure talent. And it's
like you just want to.
But you think they're Led Zeppelin, but it's like it's Freddie. Like the lead singer, that James is like Freddie Mercury.
He looks like fucking Robert Plant.
He does. And
he looks like Robert Plant. Go and have a look.
He looks exactly like Robert Plant. But he rocks his platform shoes, you know, and he's jumping all over the stage, and it's like
how he jumps in those platforms.
And Tyler the same.
I'm like, oh my god, my ankle.
So the guitarist Tyler is phenomenal, and Ed drums, you know, Ricky on the bass, but they all have their individual look. They all have their they're all vibe, brilliant, and they come together like a little family unit, and they have fun, you know. They hold their own, you know. It's like when we were backstage in Sweden when the Europe had that festival and they were playing, and they knew I explained the etiquette of backstage, which you have to be really careful of, you know. You
don't want to muck around.
No,
backstage.
And I was like, you know, wait for them to come off. I mean, yes, Emma.
Don't muck around.
You don't do dance backstage.
No kissing around.
Or singing to the final countdown or the...
No, none of that. No screaming and yelling. There's certain etiquette. I'm glad you explained that to them.
Yes, I'm so pleased that you took that on board. But anyway, they were really good. They understood, and I just said, let them come to you and don't be chasing it down. If they want to talk to you, they know who I am. And then I introduced them, and they just held their own, really good at conversation, really articulate without being a dick. You know, not like up their own asses, and none of that. And really respectful of, you know, the artists that they aspire to be. And that's so key. Because when you get invited on these tours, what some bands don't realise is if you're known as being a knob on the circuit, and there's plenty of them, getting pissed, being rude, being condescending, not appreciating the opportunities of being invited to certain festivals or on as a support band, it's a small industry. That goes around like wildfire. You know, we're all like, Little Black Book, you know, we're not having them on tour. We all talk, you know. And rock and metal, you know, it is so small. Really is very, very small. And there needs to be more women higher up.
Yeah, I haven't seen many.
Yeah. There's some women that are just doing amazing things. Like Ricky Warwick's wife, has just been like elevated. She's like a major what level is she? I think she's a record label based over in the States, and she's just absolutely smashing it out of the park. You know, what a power couple they are. You know, so we've got Ricky, who works his arse off with all these bands that he's in, including his independent stuff, which is awesome. Releasing albums like, you know, one a year, he just knocks it out all the time. And then we've got his wife that's like killing it in the industry. And that's great, because that's how it should be. You know, women should be in those positions of, you know, because we nurture and we, you know, we de-escalate situations where I find that, you know, men can make things much more complicated sometimes than they need to be. And if you can just look at the bigger picture and de-escalate and think of the positive and keep it really simple. Like, I'm the queen of the one sheet. I'm like, let's get this down on one sheet. Let's just break it down, and then we'll look at the bigger picture. Where do we want to go? What's the long-term plan? And I think it's very nurturing, and artists feel quite safe. And I think that it's like a relationship. It's like a friendship or a relationship. You know, you've got to feel safe and seen and, you know, heard and all of that stuff. And it's not just someone's trying to squeeze you for the money. What can I get out of you as an artist? Give me more content. Give me more music. Give me, how am I going to pitch you without this, and this? You know, rather than, how do we do this together? You know, it's not a dictatorship. And sometimes it can be. I think the music industry can tell, rather than how do we do
I've
this.
heard that a lot of like, you can't release this, you've got to take that track out, you've got to dress like this. A lot of the stuff's coming out about bands speaking up because they're unhappy with, or they've just said no.
Yeah,
so it's good. It's good. Is there any? So, what's your favourite concert or band?
Oh, easy. Pearl Jam, 1993, Brixton Academy, 2 nights in a row. It was insane, and it absolutely just blew my head off, and I've never forgotten it. And I remember the sticky floor, and I remember Eddie flying around, you know, crowd surfing, all that crazy shit that he used to do.
And just he was climbing
the rafters, all of that. So I was literally there, super young, thinking this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I also saw Rage Against the Machine there a few weeks afterwards, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and all that kind of circuit. Reading those years, 93, 94, 95, Reading was just all about rock. And I feel like we're getting back to that. We've got a movement going on at the moment, which is why JLo are kicking off, and like rock is starting to really go back to the masses. And all the industry are talking about it. All the record labels are like, we want to bring rock back. I'm like, oh, fucking about time. Yeah. You know, come on. Yeah. This is
always been there though.
It's never, but it's not been the focus. It's not where.
Maybe to the younger generations, it's been more pop and grime and rap. But
you've got to think, it's like, so if you're 20 and you're in a band and people are like, you look like Robert Plant, you sound a bit like Led Zeppelin, your references to The Who and all these kind of influences of Freddie Mercury because of the way James handles the crowd. If you are 15, you don't generally know who the fuck Led Zeppelin are.
No.
How many decades ago?
At least your parents,
60s, 70s. Yeah, there's
but
that.
It's our generation that's got kids around that
age. Or seen the movie and you're interested, but this is fucking a long time ago. We need a band to be and there is Greta Van Fleet similarities. And
I think that would have missed the generation though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like with that Led Zeppelin film, I made my daughter go to it, but she was like, and then she was like, oh, that was quite good.
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming on. It's been great having you and hearing about your insights. We'll get you back because I know that there's lots more.
I love that.